WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 2 of Beat the Champ at Rapids Bowling Center in Niagara Falls. We had a fantastic week last week. I'm joined by my broadcast team, Hall of Fame bowler Sue Jeziorski, Hall of Fame bowler Fran Bax. We had a lot of diversity last week. We talked about that. This week, not so much.
This week's actually going to be really exciting. We've got 3 lefties, and we've got Gary, and it'll be fun to see what the lefties do with this. I was pretty sure there were going to be a lot of lefties on the show just from watching the pattern during qualifying, so we'll see what they do with it.
Right, and our first match is Pat Brick and Gary Kinyon, and there's no lack of experience there. Those two have faced each other a lot of times. There's a lot of games between the two of them now, isn't there?
Yeah, I bowled a few games with and against those guys in the day. Pat and Gary are both New York State Hall of Famers as well as Buffalo Hall of Famers. So it'll be very interesting to see how, not only how they do, but the rest of the lefties in the field like to see how they open these lanes up.
Right, because those lanes have not been used. The left-hand side has not been played on, and the right one side's been broken down a little bit. So we'll see how Gary handles that. We'll get back for our first match here. Let's get rolling. Gary Kinyon on your left, Pat Brick on your right. Looks like Gary has opted to start this match. Got some experience between these two gentlemen right here. Gary's in his 11th show, and Pat's in his 16th show. So,
Well-seasoned players here.
pardon?
Well-seasoned players here.
Yep. Well, it's funny how experience really played a role in the last match between Gary and Josh. I mean, as good as Josh throws it, I think that Gary's practice and composure and experience and knowledge really helped push him over the edge there to throw those 2 strikes in the 10th on a tougher shot in order to shut that match out. And but in this match right here, Pat's right up there with him with experience.
Pat puts in a lot of time in his game as well. He bowls everything that's out there. He definitely goes out and practices, and he's really well educated in his equipment.
And you're right, even though we've got a little bit of an age difference here, these are two guys that really do go out and bowl all kinds of stuff. Gary bowls just as many tournaments as Pat. There's a lot of senior events to bowl. Gary never misses them. Gary goes to Vegas and travels to those senior events. And, there's not enough that can be said about seeing conditions in different bowling centers and having that constant learning.
It adds another element into your game. So when we see some of these younger players that come out and are making the shows, it's nice because it lets us know that we're building a little bit in the bowling atmosphere, because bowling took a hit for a little while. But this is where you gain all your knowledge, going to everything that's out there, putting your time in.
There's no question that just bowling league and seeing just a house shot all the time is just not enough when it comes to more trying conditions. And even your confidence level, I mean, it changes quite a bit when you go out and you do well in a tournament in a house that's unfamiliar and conditions that are unfamiliar.
And you get to bowl on a lot of different surfaces, which is nice too. I mean, you've still got the old wood centers around. You've got different kinds of synthetic lanes, which all play a little bit different too. Yep. And that's one thing that, when people see them and they think, oh, it's synthetic, but it's a different kind. So they do move different. There's ones that are harder, ones that are softer.
Right. And even things that are strange that you wouldn't think about, like reflections on the lanes, lights. All of that kind of affects your psyche. Ball returns, some of them are short, some of them are long. There's just so many things that you learn to adjust to as you see more and more conditions.
That was a good shot by Pat, just a bad break. And going away, we also bowl, a lot of these guys bowl nationals as well at the National Bowling Stadium. And the ceiling is so high and the sounds are different. Right. And you've got to get very accustomed to that. So it's always nice to go in a day early and do like a side tournament like the Bowler's Journal or something like that gives you a little bit more experience on that atmosphere, which is so different. All right, so we've got an open by Pat.
Nothing worse than a pocket open.
Those are the ones where it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
You're always saying, okay, I hope I leave a 4-pin, and that turns into a 4-9. Pat's very capable of regrouping on that. It was a good shot. Nice shot by Gary.
Gary goes back to the first Beat the Champ. He made Beat the Champ back when it was in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I remember
like I
watching my dad.
You're right.
Beat the Champ.
You're right.
You know, being a little kid sitting in the stand and watching them do their thing with Ida Simpson.
But good for Gary that he could make, still be here competing at this level.
He's got to have 40 years of competitive experience.
Yeah.
Competitive, not just junior ball. And you can hear he knew that was not a good shot when he let go. He said nope to himself. Kind of popped up a little bit. Didn't get the rotation on it.
You think, he really, you want every shot, but when you can post a double up against someone's open, that's, you almost want that just a little bit more, because it can be definitely a turning point in the match, even though it's early, to get that pop.
Last
got a great spare.
Yeah, last time we were talking about the plastic at the spare, and that's one of the ones, the 245, that I think is genuinely a spare that you could almost always use your plastic at.
Pat's still looking for his first strike. Ooh, that one went left on him.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't slide quite right, didn't feel right.
He definitely popped up on it. Again, this is one of those situations and these lane conditions that are, not your typical house shot where you're off just a little bit. He popped up, couldn't get away with it. On a house shot, that goes a little bit to the left there, catches some extra dry boards and pops right back for you.
Pops right back and might even go high on a house shot. Sometimes, bad break on that spare.
This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
We're already halfway through. 32-pin match. There's our Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Fran's not paying attention.
Oh, Pat. It really looks like, I don't know if it's a timing issue. It could be his feet getting a little fast, but he's definitely not balanced at the line as he normally is. He's definitely usually more grounded.
You're absolutely right.
He might be trying to force the ball into a spot now because it's getting tight with the frames. So sometimes you try to make something happen. All right, let's see where Gary goes here. So he had the switching 7 on the last shot.
So what's worse is, these lanes are still a little bit different.
Yep.
Pat knows these lanes are different. So not only are you not lined up on one, you're not lined up on the other. So there's worst case scenario.
Nice.
Great shot. Plus 34 halfway through. Strike here, make them plus 40. We've had some really lopsided matches today.
We have, but now to Pat's defense a little bit, he is on the fresh again, and that was where earlier when we had our first session of matches that the guys did struggle, and now it's happening to Pat.
It took 2 matches for the lanes to settle in.
Yep. So, maybe Pat will tame it down a little bit for the lefties coming up for the next one.
Wow.
Nice working ball
right
there.
Yep. frame 7 for Pat. He's in a situation here where he has to find something out of nothing.
Really nice. All right, so let's hope for the
Moved in
double here.
some.
Yep.
So he's got a 201 left on the board, and I'm guessing that to have any chance at all, he's going to have to throw nothing but strikes for the rest of the way through.
And he was taking a little bit extra time after that last shot, thinking about what his move is going to be on this shot. So, wow.
I bet you didn't think it would be this easy, did you?
Well, this is where we're going to see Pat the next couple frames that he bowls, trying to figure something out. You know, the same as what Chris did. You still kind of want to get an idea. And the one-game matches are so tough. You know, you don't get the right adjustment right away, and you lose 1 or 2 frames, and that could be, you know, an essence the whole variable.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's the 7th frame, and Gary's already got this match wrapped up.
So we'll have to see what our next player is going to be able to do on that left-hand side.
Absolutely, because when we looked at the other 2 matches, we had 2 righties in each match. I mean, at this pace, we still only had 1 lefty-hand.
Well, I'm thinking after watching Pat too, the lefties coming in, it may be where they might be a little bit better off going a little straighter and a little further left up the lane pattern. But we'll see what they bring. I think Pat was kind of caught in that in-between. You know, if he missed a little left, it wasn't making the turn. And if he tried to square up, the ball just hooked a little bit too much. All right, Gary's definitely got the pocket lined up, so it's just going to be him making minor adjustments to carry those shots.
Well, Gary already has this wrapped up right here. All he needed was a 168, and he's already got 170 on the board. So a little easier than he thought it was going to be, but we'll be right back to talk to Pat after this and hear his take on what happened. Stay tuned. I want to say first victim of Gary Kinyon today, but honest to God, you're coming on the left-hand side. We saw in the first week, you know, transition is tough when there hasn't been any play on it. Very fresh condition. Tell me what happened out there.
I mean, there is something to that, but I made them look way harder than what they were. I mean, I had a decent look in practice, and first couple of shots I threw were, I thought, pretty good, and then I left the 6-8 split, and then I just kind of started pressing a little bit from there, and then it turned into a bit of a disaster. I always trying to achieve something every time I'm on TV. This was my lowest game on TV, so I achieved something. So I got to pull something out of it.
All right. Well, one of the themes is, you know, for the people that have struggled, that how graceful people are, you bowlers are, when you face adversity. And again, you're no different. And part of the game too is handling the days that don't go as well, isn't it?
Oh, no doubt about that. Gary bowled a good game. I mean, I think 211, 210. 220 is a huge game on this week, so I'll be interested to watch the other lefties and see if they can make them a little easier than I did.
Well, let's see if you broke it in for them.
Maybe.
All right, so we're going to see how the next 2 lefties fare today. Stay tuned. Let's see what happens. This match, we got Gary Kinyon versus Dominic Germano. Dominic's first show as a competitor, on the main show. He was on a double show as one of the side events, one of our 4 shows, but this is his first show. 20 years old.
Playing a great veteran. This will be exciting.
Yep.
Whoa. Okay. Popped up a little bit.
Gary intent on being a lefty killer today.
We'll see what Dominic has to offer on this next upcoming shot. But here's our favorite spare again. 3, 6, 10. So on these patterns, this is definitely going to be one of the shots that comes up a lot. You're going to go high through the face and leave a lot of that ugly stuff.
Ooh,
yep.
Nice spare.
Plastic ball, the spare, great spare. Okay.
Sue loves those plastic balls. Those spares.
I wish I owned stock in them.
It's amazing that I've been bowling with you for all this time and do not throw plastic balls at my left-hand spares. And then I sat here and complained about making my spares. I'm gonna.
See, you learned something.
I need to put in those 3 games to make me good at my plastic ball spares.
A couple months before nationals, you can do it.
All right, our first shot out of Dominic Germano. I didn't see it, but it sure sounded loud.
It was very loud, and he did not look nervous at all.
You notice that he bowled, he won a doubles championship with Josh Large, who we saw in our first show.
Yeah, youth team championship, so obviously they bowl a lot together, and it's kind of nice to see groups stay together.
It's nice to see the young people coming out here and bowling. I mean, this does not tell you something about bowling. A 20-year-old making the show versus a 69-year-old who's been on the first installment of Beat the Champ. I mean, this game's for everyone.
So we just saw Dominic there, and same thing that happened with Pat. A little bit of adjustment, get it in a little bit, and the ball just goes high. So, and I think from what we learned from Pat, 29 was hooking a little bit more.
Right, Pat said 29 was hooking more, which was the opposite for the right-handers. So kind of determined that topography, which definitely plays a part in lanes.
Yeah, it's how your panel on the lane is actually laying. So on this lane 29 that we're talking about, the lefties are actually going downhill and the righties are actually going uphill.
Exactly.
And it doesn't sound like a lot, but that minor variable makes a huge difference on how your ball's going to enter the pocket,
Absolutely.
how it's going to finish down lane.
How often do we see that at nationals when they set up
All the time.
when they put those lanes up just for nationals?
The actual national stadium, they re-leveled. They had it done and found out that there was so much of a variable that they redid it and tried to level it out to make it a little bit easier, because it always played into the lefty's hands
Always.
a lot.
Yep.
So they did work on that, which is nice to see at that high level of our bowling, that people are willing to put the money in to do something like that.
Absolutely.
Spare there.
Is that that margin for error?
That's that margin for error. I didn't want to go there again, but plastic gives you that leeway. So we're gonna get Sue a plastic spare
there's
ball.
Fran smiling again. The Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Filling in for Janelle. Janelle had to work today. Paul had to work today. Everybody's playing hooky.
You got stuck with me.
No, it's not stuck. I like actually being able to get some different insights. Everybody has something different to offer. So, we're actually talking a little bit more about equipment and about a few more technical things than maybe we would normally talk about, but I want to take advantage of the fact that you're here and that's your skill set. And it gives a different education to the person listening.
So Gary now just left a weak 10. So the ball did enter the pocket, but not as strong as when the back ends were maybe a little bit fresher.
Right.
So he's going to think about a different adjustment. I don't know if he's going to move right. Great spare.
Well, like we talked about earlier, he hasn't seen a whole lot. He knows the left-handers are still transitioning, and it's still kind of fresh on the left-hand side. Does he make a major change right now? Well, he's shooting 2-0, and 2-0 is enough to win these matches. Maybe it was time to wait and see what he was up against before he starts, making these wholesale changes. But if he's going to be going light, he's going to have to do something.
Yeah, right now it's looking like he's staying in the pocket.
Here's one of those cases that I've seen so far. If I were to think of a common denominator, it seems like ball speed is your enemy right now, because you can just spray it right through, and these balls aren't even reading if you're throwing it too hard.
And the guys that do have the high ball speed, the ball is never going to pick up on any kind of reaction. So there's a couple things as a player that you can do. You can hold the ball a little bit lower. You can move your target closer to you. So instead of looking at the arrows, you bring your target down to the dots.
Absolutely.
And when you look at the dot, it makes your hand turn a little bit earlier, so the ball gets into a roll a little bit quicker. There's a couple of different things you can do. It's not always just a ball change. Pretty straight at it. Pretty decent rev rate.
He is. Nobody's running away right now. We've got an 8-pin match, so we're under a mark. It's all coming down to count. Gary had a 6 count there. All right. This looks like a good time to take a break. We'll be back with more Beat the Champ right after this. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. You want to picture a line from, say, in front of your target, through your target, so you have a direction. Because that one,
I draw back a lot. I'll look at my pocket and where I want it to be. So I'll be looking at the pins, and then I'll bring my target back down and actually put it down. And that helps a ton with spare shooting. Teaching people how to shoot 10 pins deep inside it's a fantastic way. So you're not just trying to hit 20, 21, 22, 23, and this is the angle that you want it on. And we actually take yarn and put it down the lane towards the pins for the girls that we're teaching to see what's going on. It's easier for them to see it, and then after they get real comfortable with seeing how they want this line to play, then you just pull the yarn away, but at least there's a visual concept of where you want it to go. Okay, good spare for Dominic there.
Well, that opens making Gary's all spare game effective.
Yeah. And that one just.
Who am I to say? I just don't think it's his feel. I think that he's trying to now help the ball in the pockets. It's not rolling up on its own.
Yep. I was just gonna say that. I think it's just a different. It might be a little bit of both, and it throws you just more off. But he got lucky. Left a 6-pin that margin for error.
There you go.
Yeah.
12-pin match. Gary's up 12 pins simply by making his spares. As you can see in this case, Gary has not come close to striking. He has not even been tapped, but he's made all of his spares.
Hanging in there.
And he's up 12 pins.
He definitely manipulates his ball a lot in his stance. A lot of motion. You can just see the ball actually not wanting to make any movement when it gets down there.
It does look like it's climbing up a hill.
Yep. Yeah, it absolutely does. And even with that slower ball speed, you're seeing it not wanting to turn. I'm going to keep this mentally in my mind for when I bowl.
Yeah. Don't make me say this stuff about you.
Hopefully you're gonna be one step ahead. Oh, just a bad shot, and he knew it.
Oh, he sure did.
Wow. Threw it right in that puddle.
Oh,
Okay. So now we
have a new
pretty
match.
much a tie game. Oh, another one of those thundering nice strikes. But a little bit square.
Absolutely. That is a beautiful shot.
And he likes this lane. He just left a ring 7 on it last shot. It was a
He
great
sure
shot.
did. He's very lined
So-
up on this lane. There's Fran manning the scoreboard, smiling at his adoring public.
Wow. I don't think you could have been happier with that. Wow.
Wow.
That's a pressure shot.
Well,
Okay. Put one in here and
a strike here
Yep.
and good count is going to seal this deal. That's the importance of that 9th frame, that helper frame.
Building
You strike
frame?
in, you have to strike in that frame, and it's worth a lot of pins.
really pull that.
It's one way to do it.
Well, and initially too, you can tell he feels bad. He's just shaking his head. I think as you get better and better, and you're a better player, you do feel bad. That's not something we ever want to see happen.
Right.
You take the break, and now hopefully you throw a better shot on top of it. So you always like to use the ones that are.
Well, that's a win for Dominic over
Yeah.
Gary, and now it's going to be lefty versus lefty. We'll come back and talk to Gary right after this. I'm here with Gary Kinyon, who put on a great show today, great display of really awesome bowling, and really, other than the one, making your spares and staying in it. You just told me a little bit about what happened. Let's talk about that. I thought that the lanes changed. You say no.
No, I don't really think they changed. I changed. What was happening was my backswing was going too high, so I was at the line before the ball, unless I wasn't able to get any lift on it. And that's why most of the shots were just sailing on me. I left a lot of 2-4-5s, and that's an indication that I wasn't getting anything on the ball.
So do you think that with this tougher lane condition that these nuances are exaggerated, say, that when you're off just a little bit, it actually shows more on a lane than, say, on a house shot?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. On this kind of shot, if you're off just a little bit, miss it at the bottom just a little bit, it definitely is going to be a lot of different reaction. You see a lot of guys here making bad shots because they get a little fast, a little slow, hanging the thumb a little bit, and, they go high, and yeah, absolutely.
Right, stuff we can maybe get away with more on a house shot than you can get away on a shot like that.
Definitely.
Well, you still did a great job, and what a display of great bowling. And
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. And we talked about how you've been here before from the first Beat the Champ, and you're still going strong and really very, very impressive.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice job. We'll be back to see lefty versus lefty and see who can come out of that. Stay tuned. Beat the Champ. All right, our last match of the day. Going to be lefty coming out of this one.
Pretty excited about this. You've got
Aaron Magliazzo versus Dominic Germano. Two newer faces to Beat the Champ, not somebody that, not one of our regulars that we see all the time.
Well, I think, opening it up to bowling on the harder conditions gives us different players.
Agreed.
Which is really nice
Agreed.
to see different players. it's exciting.
Like I said, the cut was 564. This is the time when anybody can come out and throw a score that can make it.
Now Aaron just drilled that ball, so the Gravity Evolve, which is a very high hooking ball in the mid lane.
So this is only Aaron's second show.
Okay.
He made one show at Transit Lanes in 2018, so we haven't seen him in a while. And he lost that one in a roll-off. So he shot 258. He had a good score on his debut.
Okay, I think the lefties are saying game on. They had a little bit of practice time, and I think they both figured out
They can thank their grandfather, Pat Brick, for helping transition these lanes out a little bit for them. No.
Brick will appreciate
He's
that.
the same age as me, so.
You're nobody's grandmother yet.
Not yet.
All right.
Good shot.
Okay. Both looking in the pocket.
They're all both pretty composed for being on the show for the very first, for being so new to being on the TV show.
Yeah, I think sometimes you mentally, it sounds kind of odd, but you have to take yourself out of the picture, forget you've got these lights and these cameras, and just kind of focus on what my ball is doing and looking at my target.
Yeah, in this case, these lanes are really... You say that, and I think that maybe you're thinking so hard about that first shot because you have to think, what lane am I on? What's this lane doing? Where do I have to stand? Make sure I'm not only getting my target in the front, that I'm going down the lane the right way, that you just dismiss that spare shot.
Yeah. Mentally out of the picture.
Because it should be, you're just like, oh, just another spare, but then you've got all that oil in the middle lane you got to think about.
So Aaron is using a Crux Prime on lane 30 and the Virtual Evolve on lane 29.
Surprisingly enough, for two lanes that have played different all day long, this is the first time I think we've seen somebody use a different ball on each lane.
Yeah, and he made them both work. So obviously, his mentality and the thought on how these balls are rolling on the two different lanes is perfect for him at this point.
Might have to think about that later.
I was going to say in about 3 or 4 shots. He strikes here, he's going to have a nice little start to this match.
Now his ball is rolling up more than everyone else. Is it due to his rev rate, or
part of it's
what he's using?
Part of it is definitely what you're using, and a lot of times people don't understand friction of the ball. So like if he's using something that's a little bit duller, it's going to want to hook sooner. And actually when something starts hooking a little bit sooner, the ball actually will, in premise, be a little bit slower because it's reading friction quicker.
Right.
So the ball actually slows down a little bit. So on the other lane, his other ball is a little bit cleaner looking. The surface is not quite as dull, so it's just going to go that hair longer and make a little bit better turn in the back end. But good job on the spare. Oh, Dominic looks pretty fast on that shot.
Yeah. What you don't want is being off just slightly and leaving something unmakeable. You gotta create a tiny bit of room for yourself. It's funny, when I was talking to Gary when we were wrapping up his little winning streak there, we were talking about how on a condition like this, on a pattern that's tougher, those little nuances that you can get away with in league or in a house shot cannot get away with it on these type of conditions. And even that his swing got a little high on him and it threw off his timing, and for that it threw off everything because you can't get away with it. Like you can't get away with being fast and falling off your feet on this. It's just not going to happen.
The smoother and calmer that you can keep your body getting to the line.
Right.
And that's a big thing. If you work on your on your physical game and you work on your feet, staying very, very calm, and you spend a lot of time on that, you can sometimes make up for something bad that's going to happen with your swing because you're going to be more grounded when you hit the foul line. So your body will be in a little bit stable position. So if you have to change a hand position really quickly, you might be able to do it. But when your feet get fast, you're dead in the water. You got no chance.
So I do want to bring up the qualifiers just one more time because I think it's important that the girls come out and bowl.
Support the tournament.
You don't have to bowl the regular show. Your score doesn't have to. You can do both. You can bowl the same qualifier. You could just put your money in just for the women's show, or you could bowl both events at the same time. So women need to come out here. It's so much fun to go do, and I know that I'll try to redeem myself in the next one, but it will be another sport pattern, so the scores will be somewhat tamer.
The women's cut was 564. And the thing that's really cool about being women too, even though we're competitive against each other, we're super supportive when we're out here bowling with the guys. I bowled my qualifying with Julie and Peggy Kuhn on the same, Julie Selk and Peggy Kuhn on the same lanes. And Peggy was down after the first 2 games. She had a rough start after the first 2, and me and Julie were just plugging her along, and sure enough, she went right around us, so we probably shouldn't have given her that much room. But it's kind of nice because you want to see each other do well. You want to do well against Amman. You want to do well in general, so people can see that you have a good contingent of women bowlers in this area.
I think that one of the unfortunate things that I'll just allude to real quick, and I'll talk about again, but I won't have you for the 4th show right away because you'll be bowling, but when we were coming up through the ranks of bowling and we were bowling for college, we were able to compete on in all of these tournaments because we weren't held back by NCAA rules. And the way things are now, we have quite a few women's teams in this area that I'm sure would benefit from this type of competition, but can't participate because of their college restrictions.
Right.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Big shot for Aaron here. This can get put away real early. It's got a lot of mix on that ball.
I was gonna say, yeah, that almost made it up to the pocket, like flush to the pocket.
One more thing while we're talking about the women, because it's December 21st. Our Western New York, our Queens tournament is coming up, and that is 3 different divisions, so you'll want to check into that. It's going to be here at Rapids Bowling Center on January 26th, and normally it's a really great turnout for women, and you have our classic division, which is our scratch division, but there's also, depending where your average falls as a woman bowler, you can still participate in it in your own division. So I think it's worth checking at your local bowling center for entry blanks and seeing where you fit in and coming out and competing in that.
The nice thing about that tournament is even if you're in one of the handicap, and I'm not going to handicap, but if you're in a lower division, it's still what you bowl. You're not getting pins added in. They don't add handicap into it. So it's still scratch, but you're bowling against the
people
group of girls that are
the same as you.
Yep.
It really is a great event, and it seems like it's grown over the years.
Nice shot.
So it's, again, that's 10 a.m. January 26th here at Rapids Bowling Center. .56-pin lead here for Aaron, and he has been standing around the pocket, hasn't really had any trouble being around the pocket. No.
It'd be nice to see if Dominic can figure a little bit out.
Oh, there's our scorekeeper on the Castellone Chrysler Jeep Ram scoreboard, showing that 56-pin lead for Aaron. Now that
really
shot was great.
Sometimes as a bowler,
You know what? He needs to put that on replay and just watch it. I mean, that was fundamentally perfect.
It was beautiful. Okay. Let's see if we can have a repeat here. So remember now, this lane's hooking a little bit more on 29. Wow. 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 A little bit further right. Oh, I liked it. Or left. I got to turn my brain around. Yeah. A little bit further left on that shot. Unfortunately, I still think right-handed.
So Dominic's in a position where just striking out is only forcing Aaron to stay clean, but at least he's still in it.
Yeah, maybe, you know, throw a couple more. Maybe, you know, Aaron saw that and you get a little bit of pressure on him. We know how little you can miss by and still have a bad shot. He's really making it work because
I'll say that went away from the pocket.
Yep. I really thought that would have had the 7th pin attached with it.
I thought that had some kind of washout all over it. Aaron's here from Niagara Falls. He's 31 years old. He's a heavy equipment operator. And he bowls here on Fridays and Sundays. So I guess that little bit of familiarity might make him feel more comfortable in the bowling center, but this is not what he's bowling on when he bowls these leagues. So kudos to him for being able to make that adjustment. Well, he knows what that means.
Well, let's see, just get 2. You know, you don't
Yep,
always.
that's true. He just needs
just get
he
2.
just needs to get to 191 total pins.
Wow. So much for getting 2.
Great shot.
Oh, wow. That was exciting. Making that with an evolve.
That was awesome. Wow.
Guess he didn't want to have to worry too much about the 10th frame.
Well, Dominic needs them all.
Oh. You know what? And give him credit there. He put that in there like a champ.
Yep.
That was a beautiful shot.
We need to give him a lot of credit there because he pulled it together and made 3 great shots there. But it's not going to be enough, and Aaron's going to pull this one out, and he is going to be our new champion going into next week. We are going to talk to everyone and wrap this week up right after this. I'm here with Dominic Germano. Did a great job taking out Gary, throwing those, striking out in the 10th there to beat him. Seems like you ran into a little bit of a roadblock in the middle of the game there.
Yeah, I completely lost my mechanics and didn't stay soft at the bottom. Started grabbing shots, started dropping shots, and Aaron did a good job capitalizing on that, staying clean. And I didn't make many spares, so not expecting to win when you don't make many spares. So.
Right, but towards the end of the match, you got it back together again and made some really great shots. I mean, how did you mentally wrap yourself around that?
I knew it was pretty much do or die. I had to strike out and give myself some kind of shot, and that's pretty much it. But
well, honestly, the theme of I think this month here at Rapids, because the shot's a little tougher, is how you're handling the adversity. So good for you at your age that you actually buckled down and turned it around and made great shots. And I think that was a great learning experience, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
All right, Susie?
Okay, so we watched you bowling on both lanes. You're using a prime on lane 30, and you're using the evolve on lane 29.
Yeah.
So what did you see on those lanes that made you make the choice to throw the different equipment?
Well, the right lane was like 3 boards tighter. So instead of chasing it with the ball left, I just switched balls. same spot on each lane. Just the Crux has a 1000 surface on it, and the Evolve has lane shine on it. So
Okay. All right.
That's what I
nice
see.
movement. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Comfortable. You feel
Yeah.
good coming into the next one.
I do, yeah. The right lane's still a little tight down lane, so I'm gonna have to figure something out.
Did they change much during the match for you?
Yeah, they did for me. Yeah, the right lane just does not want to hook in the back end. So we'll see what I can come up with.
No, impressive though. Great ball choices.
Thank you.
Great bowling.
Appreciate it.
Well, again, here at Rapids, we're just really not only watching these guys just buckle down and make great shots, but learn as they go. And I think that's the theme of the month. And these guys did a great job. So we'll be right back after this to wrap this week up. I'm going to ask you guys both the same question. Wrapping up our second week here at Rapids, what have you enjoyed the most about the competition out there?
Oh, I think what I've liked the most is seeing the choices that the guys have made, especially just watching the lefties come in the last one and seeing that people are learning enough to, like we had Aaron throw 2 different balls, and it's super exciting to see that. And I love that the players, when they weren't doing well, were still, smiling and trying to learn and have a good time, and seeing people bounce back, from having a bad game.
Right. What do you think? Because, we've seen good and bad from bowlers. We've seen it all. So you know what they're feeling on the inside when they're struggling like that.
Oh, yeah. It does get a little frustrating up there. You could kind of see the frustration on their faces, but still they came back. They made good shots. Props to Aaron for having the equipment and the surface on his bowling balls to make these lanes open up for him. He did really good. Looking forward to seeing him next week.
Right. So, you know what? The one thing for us is it gives us a lot to talk about because, we're seeing so many other facets of bowling. So we're also going to have a lot to talk about next week. So I hope you tune in and see you next week here on Beat the Champ.